America's home to countless natural wonders that we somehow haven't completely ruined yet. The grandest of canyons, the baldest of eagles, the purplest of mountains' majesty. Look at that! That's such a deep purple, it's gonna start playing Smoke on the Water. There's cool cats, nasty hogs, and in the middle of Utah, one of the gnarliest living things on the planet. And I say that literally. Look at these gnarls. He is a single tree and an entire forest, the biggest, oldest, and heaviest living thing humanity has ever come across. One lone organism and a collective ecosystem that's watched over the Fishlake Basin for thousands of years.
This is Pando. Heck yeah, baby, we got a drone permit!
As I was saying before getting distracted by that empirically amazing drone shot, this is Pando. So is this? All of these guys, this entire dappled situation, that's actually a human, specifically me. This was Pando, but it's dead now, so it's nothing. Point is, this whole flippin' thing is Pando. Now, it might be confusing that each individual tree and the entire forest are both called Pando, especially considering that Pando sounds like the name of some sort of 80s beefcake Rambo panda, you know?
What's black, white, and red all over? Me. I eats, shoots, and leaves. And right now, I'm all out of leaves. Bam. Bam. Bamboo bloodbath. Every theater. Everywhere.
But let's get back down to the bones of the matter.
I found a spine!
This Pando is so wondrous because, like all quaking aspen, it's a clonal colony, which means each of Pando's 47,000 stems sprout from a single root system, which means that Pando isn't just a forest of clones, it is, genetically, a single organism. And Pando is the largest colony ever discovered. At 13 million pounds, it is literally the most massive organism on Earth, the equivalent of 43 blue whales, 4 General Shermans, or 1 guilt trip from my mother after I didn't come home for Easter. That is a lie. She is a wonderful woman, and I am sorry, Trisha. But to fully appreciate Pando, you have to first appreciate the trees it's comprised of. And if y'all think your pronouns are fluid, then buckle up, folks, because this it is a he, and this he is a they, and this they are quaking aspen, or Populus tremuloides for all our ancient Roman viewership. These deciduous trees are characterized by heart-shaped, sawtoothed leaves that turn a brilliant gold in the autumn, as well as stately white trunks that resemble emaciated ghosts with 1,000 eyes. Quaking aspen are the most widely distributed trees in all of North America, spanning 9 different time zones and half the distance between the equator and the North Pole. But you could find them most easily in western mountain ranges, in Ansel Adams photographs, and in the peasant blouse section of an anthropology, stuffed into a vase or a, I don't know, like fancifully decorated into some sort of wraith, or like maybe they turned it into a mannequin. Also, what's a peasant blouse?
It's this unreal, expletive-inducing beauty that's made quaking aspen the state tree of Utah. And it's this sound that gives quaking aspen its name. Why isn't it making the sound? It was making the sound a second ago. We'll cut to the sound.
This whispering symphony is why Pando was given the name the Trembling Giant, a phrase usually reserved for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar walking through a haunted house.
These long leaf stalks, called petioles, are flattened and hit the blade of the leaf at a right angle, which causes them to dance in even the slightest breeze, like an elegant, hypnotic ballerina hopped up on coke. Hey, what's that? It's a moment of beauty. Let's appreciate a thing just as it is. Let's all agree to shut up for a second and just have a moment. I know I'm just talking about me mainly, but it's collective me. More than nearly any other tree, aspen are the physical embodiment of light, just like angels. They are incredibly shade intolerant, which means that branches or even entire stems will wither and die if they're not exposed to enough light. So as this forest matures, saplings will die off and the fully grown trees will be far more spread out than they are now. So while this looks like a vibrant thicket, it's actually a thunderdome of survival. There can be only a couple, like, still like a good number, but not as many as right now. We're getting closer to seeing why this bad boy in particular is so special. And when I say boy, I literally mean boy, because quaking aspen are what I think is pronounced dioecious, which means they're either girl trees or boy trees, which means that technically they reproduce sexually. What's up? That said, for that to occur, conditions need to be perfect. And that, like, never happens, so. Ruh-roh.
For quaking aspen to reproduce sexually, conditions need to be perfect. First, you need to light a few forest fires for mood lighting. Then things need to get real wet. Then the wind needs to play like Sade or something. Uncopyrightable, sensuous song. Then the male and female aspen will cross-pollinate and create seeds. That said, this rarely ever happens. In fact, Pando and other quaking aspen are so bad at reproducing sexually, the only thing that does it worse is the other Pando.
Oh, yeah. My sex drive's pretty much non-existent. You make me choose between mating and eating a sweet potato, I'm gonna choose that sweet potato every time.
To understand its asexual reproduction, we have to make like a badger at a family reunion, or my cousin Keith after entering witness protection, and go underground. Hope you're like in Tucson.
Rather than growing from seeds, new shoots sprout from Pando's underground root system, which then begin to leaf and become new trees. This method of asexual reproduction means that each tree is genetically identical to one another. Pando is an entire forest of clones, essentially a bunch of brothers that are also their own father, like some sort of hillbilly Game of Thrones or a million Jesuses. It's also what makes Pando so miraculous, because these trees aren't just individual twins. They're a single organism connected by a root system. Pando's root system has over 47,000 stems that we see as individual trees. That's 47,000 clones all living in harmony, which is something I don't think could be said of any of us. Oh. Nope. No, this is not a bit we're doing. This is a little high. Not a bit. No. Nope. He's a sweet little boy. Oh no, I didn't know. Oh no. Hey there, champ. No need to worry. We're you. No. Let's talk about your character flaws. But unlike the insides of my own toxic psyche, a day spent inside Pando feels flawless. From its great ecological significance to the most socially acceptable of golden showers, Pando is a true wonder of the world.
So if you're ever in the area, come witness one of the most incredible organisms on the face of the earth. But if you do, keep in mind that you are just a witness. Leave it better than you found it. And don't be a dick, like Scott. You're a dick, Scott. A real dick.
Fishlake truly is an oasis in the desert, where we have the subalpine fir, the aspen forest, or within 20 minutes you can be down into the Red Rock Desert. And that's what's really unique about this country.
I think Pando clone is particularly special because Americans have a penchant for loving the biggest and the fastest and the best, and this is the biggest.
It's not been that many years ago that Pando clone was given its name. People took interest in it, and well, what is this Pando clone about? We are finding here on the district that more and more people all the time are calling us and wanting to know about the Pando clone.
If you want to learn about Pando, it pops up on Reddit every 3 weeks. But if you want to see it for yourself, that is a different matter.
So Pando's kind of hard to find.
No, actually a road runs through it.
Okay. Okay, yes, but it is...
It's hard to know it's there.
Yes.
You see, despite being a literal wonder of the natural world, Pando doesn't even have so much as a sign. Well, besides this one.
There's a sign about aspen, how it's beautiful, but it can be used for fuel wood. And I think there ought to be a sign that talks about Pando being the largest organism on the planet.
The dedicated rangers at the Forest Service are doing their best, but the majority of their modest budget goes to things like, I don't know, fighting forest fires. So there isn't a lot left over for signs, you know?
So once people get here, how can they find Pando?
Our signing program or interpretive program's pretty much been non-existent.
So I'm gonna give you a list of things you normally would find at a notable natural site, and you tell me if you have them for Pando. A sign.
No.
Anything that says Pando or clone.
No.
Information at all.
Very limited.
Okay, cool. It's a good start.
Now, to be fair, there is some signage telling you about Pando. It's just a couple miles down the road at a tackle shop.
The Forest Service provided us these materials that show us the location
Great.
of the Pando clone, actual work being done on a clone.
Did the Forest Service draw this as well?
No, my daughter drew
Okay.
this lovely welcome sign to Pando.
It is beautiful. It's objectively a beautiful sign.
Thankfully, the Fishlake Discovery Association has a plan to expand on Stephanie's daughter's whiteboard masterpiece with the help of some professionals.
You don't even know you're here. You don't even know where it is. It's extremely confusing. The signage in the area has nothing to do with Pando, never mentions, as you said, doesn't even say Pando anywhere. We would like to be able to do something really spectacular here. And at this point in time, there's no money for that.
Unfortunately, we have no money. But we figured if Bong Recreation Area, invisible cows, and the most upsetting way to get maple syrup all warrant signage, then so too does the most massive organism on Earth. So we decided to make some signs for ourselves and gathered the rangers from Fishlake National Forest for this Pando panel. Are we going with that? Okay.
Guys, thank you so much for being part of this Pando panel. We know you've been in need of some signage for the Pando clone, so we took it upon ourselves to make a few options for you. Just let us know which one you like the best, and we can install it as early as later this afternoon. So we figured that the easiest way to get some funding would be with a corporate sponsorship, and because Pando means I spread, what better sponsor than Smucker's Jellies, Jams, and Spreads? With a name like Smucker's, it has to be a unique ecological phenomenon.
No. Whose idea was this?
For this sign, we thought, let's match Pando's iconic beauty with iconic messaging. Pando, bamboo bloodbath. This time, he's a bear with a gun.
No, we can't have that. Children.
What can we do there?
No.
It's a callback.
It's not even the right bear.
It's not even the right continent.
Sorry, he's not Smokey Bear, John. This is the last one we got.
Well, I think you're onto something. This one's better.
Yeah?
I like the lighting. I guess I
I
do.
don't think it's going to meet the sign standards.
Even Quakey?
I like Quakey.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kurt.
I think he blows.
Good joke, John, and I wish I had thought of it.
Oh, you can get an A for effort. I'd
Yeah,
give it
but
to
an
you.
F in practicality.
Well, thank you very much to our hurtfully honest Pando panel. John's disparaging remarks aside, Pando could really use some sort of signage and interpretive plans. The Old Spanish Trail and the Fishlake Discovery Association are working to make that happen, specifically this. So, if you have a spare couple of bucks, please consider donating to help bring awareness to one of the most amazing organisms on the face of the planet. And talking about Pando, not Quakey. Quakey's like $100 on Amazon. Like 115 with tax and shipping.
Really good signage helps people do three things. Think, that is, learn about aspen. Care, that's not hard. Aspen kind of is like a baby kitten. It's pretty easy to like and act. And there should be the lesson here of what does aspen need. They need to know part of it's dying.
It's dying? Everything's dying.
That's right, folks. It wouldn't be a nature show without pristine beauty being destroyed by the hubris of man. So, what chronic, complicated, and unstoppable force is decimating Pando? Climate change? Acid rain? Industrial exploitation of resources?
Ungulates. Ungulates.
Okay, and just to clarify, an ungulate is a thing we all know.
Which is hooved animals.
Yes.
You've got your cows, your elk, deer.
That's right. The scourge threatening the most massive organism on Earth? Bambi. So how are these doe-eyed fucks throwing aspen on the trash bin? Here's Mary with a real upsetting metaphor.
In a stand like this, which is a stand that doesn't have naturally a lot of conifer, it's a perpetual reproduction machine. If the baby's heads aren't eaten off all the time. Brad, I want to show you something. This is a perfect example of how hard aspen will try to live while its heads are being cut off again and again and again. And it keeps sending up branches. I would guess this is maybe, I don't know, 40 years old. And the only reason you're seeing this is because they couldn't get to it. The ungulates could not get their mouth down there and eat it while it was young. Now it's a big trunk.
That sounds like a Kafkaesque nightmare.
So here's a sign from the very early 1990s. Okay. And it was put up when they were clear cutting Pando clone right in here. They didn't fence, and the ungulates ate them all, and they're gone.
After hearing so much about these deer, we thought we'd try to speak to them ourselves.
I'd like to speak to you about some allegations involving your eating habits. Do you eat aspen shoots? Are you killing Pando? Are you eating Pando? What are they running from? The truth?
It took some searching, but we finally found a deer who was willing to talk.
Oh, I love eating aspen.
And, more surprisingly, was able to.
So how would you describe your relationship with aspen sprouts?
I mean, am I an addict? No. Am I a user? Oh, definitely.
Well, there's been concern amongst environmentalists and foresters that ungulates like you are preventing new aspen from growing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that this was just an ecosystem of plants and animals living together in harmony. I didn't know that we were doing something unnatural for you humies.
The population of mule deer has increased greatly in recent years and caused the system to be out of whack.
You know, that is a valid point. You know what else is a valid point? The 9 billion humies walking around, gobbling up resources and burning fuel that's meant to be in the ground, collapsing the entire global ecosystem. So why don't you think a little more macro, dude? Get off me and my family eating some delectable shoots. You don't see me coming into your home and tell you to stop eating beef that's exploding the global temperature every day. Coming into my house telling me how I eat is wrong. Why don't you just lay off the McDonald's, brother?
Valid point.
After a deep and illuminating conversation, we realized the deer were just doing deer stuff But the question remains, what do we do about the deer stuff?
So here we go. We're coming to the most successful so far gated portion.
Oh yeah. There are big boys, there are little boys.
The big lesson of Pando clone, one is you can be an old, diseased, falling down aspen stand, and all you need is protection from ungulates, and you're gonna be youthful again.
Yeah.
A second one, big lesson is, that's what aspen that are in trouble need. They need to have not so many mouths eating them.
So, how do we ensure Pando's future? Well, it's complicated because teamwork is difficult and humanity is a curse. Naturally, the solution would be fewer mule deer, which is really saying something considering the number of deer carcasses we came across. A number which, one could say, was staggering.
Deer culling, while unpleasant, is a potential solution.
Father?
But outside of an organized mass mule deer slaughter, the only thing that would save Pando would be 5 to 6 years of extensive fencing to give it a chance to bounce back. Without it, Pando's new sign could be as futile and ironic as the old one. But any amount of action will require both interagency cooperation and vocal public support. And it's hard to make a case for saving Pando without first making the case for why Pando deserves to be saved in the first place. In the end, it's up to people like Mary, and people like Kurt, and people like us. Because, after all, Pando can't save itself. It's 2021, and we're back.
So 3 years, 25 pounds, and a global pandemic later, Pando has a sign.
The man in the loud jacket's right. Identifying signage was finally installed at the Pando Clone Forest in the summer of 2019 after years of increased attention, budgetary reallocations, and a nominally successful fundraising campaign that probably would have gone better if we had just Googled rich people in Utah.
That's some sturdy metal right there. Let's get that on the mic. Oh yeah, that's some American-made steel. I'm actually not sure of that. I feel like Trump with the flag thing. He ruins everything.
But signage isn't all that's been happening. Our pals at the Western Aspen Alliance have gotten over 1,000 articles published across the world about the Pando Clone Forest. And the Forest Service itself has developed a 69-page interpretive plan, which is nice for a variety of reasons. Mostly the educational potential. You sick freaks. Our fundraising campaign was featured in publications including the Salt Lake Tribune and Atlas Obscura, and it raised enough money to not just get these signs installed, but to get the Forest Service off its butt to find a budget of its own for future signage, which is admittedly a little rude, but less so when you consider that, and this is true, they installed those signs and then nobody told us. Like we didn't find out for a year. The frustrating thing is that while there are articles upon articles about Pando's mortality, the solution is rarely ever mentioned. And the solution is incredibly simple. Are you ready? Can we get like a JV drum roll for this? It's a fence. A single, solitary fence costing around $70,000 and being erected for 6 years to allow Pando to grow a new generation of trees, ensuring its future. $70,000, kind of expensive as fences go. Not very expensive for a literal wonder of the natural world. Something to think about, but I don't know, I'm clearly biased.
So once there was a wondrous thing, and then some scientists gave it a name, and then some comedians gave it a sign, or far more accurately, some comedians gave a bunch of really great people a bunch of really bad headaches, and then those really great people gave it a sign. And now it's up to a lot more really great people to give it a future. Or just one really rich person because we live in an oligarchical state. Isn't that right, Joby? Do we live in an oligarchy? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We are trapped in late-stage capitalism.
We're losing him. So much for continuity. Okay.
Well, we lost the dog's attention, but hopefully we didn't lose yours. Because in a world of terminally ill biomes on a hospice planet, this is one that can be saved with a simple $70,000 reverse vasectomy in the form of a fence.
Public land!
You know, just a slightly bigger version of the test fencing that's one, already there, and two, proven to work. Because we don't need to figure out how to unmelt a glacier or grow trees on the Pacific garbage patch. We just need to dig a couple of fence posts. And right about now, an easy win is not the worst thing. Because it gives us, dare I say it, actionable hope. Hope that future generations will be able to wander through this forest with a sense of wonder, not drive through a barren field wondering where the forest went. And until we achieve that actionable hope that is a fence, we'll settle for this actual step, which is a sign. And hopefully, it's a sign of things to come, and not a sign of things that used to be.
Well, thank you so much for watching. I've been a screaming dust mote in the infinity of time. Hopefully you get the chance to experience the beauty of the earth for yourself, and then maybe do something to help it not go dead. All right, have a good one. I have died 1,000 times and I've lived 1,000 more. And for centuries upon centuries, you know I've sprouted forth, and since before I had a name, I was still here just the same. So come see, and I'll quake you to your core. So come see, and I will quake you. Come see, and I will quake you. Oh, come see, and I'll quake you to your core. You're still a dick, Scott. You're still a real dick.